In 2026, the practice of pressuring citizens through their family ties has become common in Belarus. Relatives of activists living abroad are increasingly becoming targets for security forces. The state uses financial monitoring and administrative checks as tools to identify individuals connected to the opposition. In this episode, we will analyze the case of an elderly woman who faced attention from the authorities due to money transfers from her daughter. We will discuss how tax audits become a pretext for political pressure and why having active relatives in emigration turns returning home into a legal trap. What role does the applicant's health play in such cases, and how does an expert report help confirm the reality of these threats? I base these videos on real cases of people facing persecution in their home countries. We are country witness experts from London, focusing on human rights violations. Today's episode is about a real case we received from a London law firm and prepared by our lead Belarus expert. They need objective evidence about the situation in the applicant's country. Our job is to do deep research and prepare a country expert report. This report identifies the real risk if the person returns home. It helps the court understand why the person needs international protection. If you are going through the asylum process in the UK, the US, Canada, or Europe and are looking for a country witness expert, you can find a wide network of highly qualified experts at the Human Rights Experts. The link is in the description. In 2026, Belarus remains one of the most repressive countries in Europe, where, according to Amnesty International, law enforcement agencies systematically apply the practice of guilt by association. This means that relatives of opposition members and diaspora activists become hostages of the system, facing searches and interrogations because of the actions of their loved ones. The monitoring of foreign payments has become a key mechanism for identifying such individuals. According to reports from the Vyazna Human Rights Center, tax authorities pass data on transfers from abroad to security structures such as GUPOPIK and the KGB. Any financial aid from relatives abroad can now be classified as financing extremism, which turns a standard tax declaration check into the start of a criminal prosecution. The situation is complicated by total digital control at the borders, where unreliable individuals have their devices forcibly seized to check contacts and messages. For vulnerable categories of citizens, including the elderly, this creates conditions of constant psychological and administrative pressure. According to Human Rights Watch, such citizens often face a lack of necessary medical care during detention, which makes the risk of return critical. The case of our applicant confirms how these control mechanisms work in practice. An elderly woman became a target for the authorities solely because of the activities of her daughter, who is in emigration and supports the opposition. The only trigger for the pressure was a financial connection, a regular money transfer sent to the mother for her livelihood. Receiving an official letter from the tax office demanding an explanation of the source of funds in the current reality of Belarus means that a person has entered the Special Services Monitoring COBRA system. Given GUPOPIK's practices, such a request often precedes an accusation of financing extremism, which leads to the risk of searches and frozen accounts. The situation is further complicated by the applicant's health, as she suffers from a severe anxiety disorder. Even a standard interrogation or the seizure of a phone at the border could lead to a critical decline in her condition. In an environment where political pressure is accompanied by the denial of medical care, the risk of return becomes unacceptable for her. But before concluding, let me introduce myself. My name is Maxim. I am a country witness expert specializing in human rights violations. I personally also received political asylum. I am the founder of the Human Rights Experts. Since March 2022, we, a team composed of over 20 experts, have been creating expert reports for asylum applicants. Our expertise covers all key regions of the world, including Africa, Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. Our expert reports, similar to the one we discussed today, are regularly commissioned by major law firms to help the court and authorities explain the specific country context of human rights violations in the applicant's country of origin who are applying for asylum in the US, UK, Canada, and EU countries. If you are in the process of seeking asylum, remember, objective evidence confirming the risk of persecution is critically important for your case. Hire an expert witness via the link in the description below. To sum up, our applicant's case is a classic example of persecution by association. The letter from the tax office confirms that she is already in the monitoring system. In Belarus in 2026, any connection with activists abroad automatically makes relatives inside the country a tool for pressure and potential subjects of extremism cases. The option of internal relocation is excluded due to total digital control. Returning to the country for an elderly woman with an anxiety disorder means an inevitable interrogation at the border and the risk of criminal prosecution, which in her condition creates a direct threat to her life. This was Maxim Kharitonov. See you in the next episode.